Good afternoon, Dr. March. I hope that this video finds you well. I will be presenting my final action plan. Before I start, I want to thank you for all the learning opportunities that you gave us that make me reflect on my best teaching practice, and I hope to implement it in my daily routines. So let me present. Based on the instructions for this final video, my title is Strategic and Meaningful Professional Development, Shaping the Minds of the Future EIS 21st Century Problem Solvers. The introduction, I have divided the introduction into 4 parts. The first one is mentorship. I think that pairing experienced educators with newer teachers provide guidance, support, and opportunities for growth and job satisfaction. I remember my first year at EIS, it was a very pleasant experience because I felt very supported by colleagues and also by the administration. The action research is important also because collaborative or individual research that focus on solving real classroom or school-related issues effectively is important in the process. Assessment and data analysis, I think that it is also a very crucial part of the strategic professional development. Here I could apply perfectly the appreciative inquiry because we learn to collect, analyze, and use data to inform instructions and improve students' outcomes with higher academic rigor, which is what we're looking for. The other day I was looking at a cartoon where they were showing the before and after of education and how at some point we have lower our rigor to the students. Now we're trying to kind of like foot spoon the students with knowledge instead of like trying to challenge them with open-ended questions. And last is the Global Education Initiative. This promotes global competence and cultural awareness among educators and students. Creating an inclusive learning community is also important. I think that we want to be very global in the sense that we want students not only to be aware of their country, but also of the entire world. The stage 1, which is the discovery, I do have the following setting. Professional learning communities, PLCs, are very important in the process because they engage in collaborative learning and sharing resources. And we can do this through interviews, surveys, SWOT analysis, case studies, and peer observation. Webinars and guest speakers is another important option because we can incorporate discussions, conferences, workshops, focus groups, fresh perspective on reflections and insight are also valuable. We just had one professional development given by a very famous speaker, and he was Kevin Bartlett, and he gave us a very clear presentation about incorporating the 3 C's in our teaching practices. A workshop on reading and research also creates summaries or presentations to share findings with other colleagues. That's very important as well, and create a structured introduction to new concepts or teaching strategies. And last but not least is the online courses. I also think that because of the compromises that we have and the limited amount of time that we have for teaching, having the option of online courses can help us in the process. I have taken, for example, courses from Coursera, from edX, and I know that he also gave us, Dr. March, an opportunity to also select from other sources to prepare for, future professional development. So here, the flexibility for timing and access to a wide range of resources that is beneficial in the process. The interaction with artificial intelligence applications for feedback also is great. I have used it before for my coding and robotic classes and my programming classes as well in APCSP and APCSA, and they were fantastic for me and for my students. Stage 2, the dream part. I think that I divided into 3 parts, and the article of Edutopia about what would be 3 things that we want to give if we were administrators to teachers. I think this fits perfectly because it's the autonomy, the competency, and the teamwork. That's the way I envision that. And that's why I use this image of a rocket, because once we launch, we aim to the sky. There's no limit. In the case of autonomy, the independence and self-determination to make professional judgment about classroom management, curriculum, and instructional methods, and of course the formative and the summative process, I think that is every teacher's dream. Competency, of course, we want effective pedagogy with innovation and creativity, research and evaluation, critical thinking and problem solving. That's something that I have it as a target every year for my students, the before and after, I call it, and the emotional intelligence. I think that's important also to have community engagement. So all the stakeholders, and that involves parents, administrators, PTA, and board of directors. Teamwork, also, there's no an I in teamwork. So this is a collaboration, commitment, and dedication of all interested parts in the process. So building a stronger colleague relationships is important. That's what I chose that in my last discussion to foster this relation among teachers. I think that creates a more welcome environment and healthy as well. Interdisciplinary collaboration and planning, and student parent involvement, and of course the administration support. Then for stage 3, I have divided into 4 parts also. It looks like 4 is my magic number. Stakeholders, that will be the board of directors and the PTA. Budget, also the resource allocation and sponsorship that we can get. Data collection, statistical analysis, and also forecast. And then we want to have the strategic plan, which is the objective, timeline, mission, and vision that we want to establish for this. So I know I didn't include the timetable, but if everything goes well, we can accomplish this in 1 school year. Of course, it's an ongoing process, but it's doable if we plan appropriately. So what will be the outcome in the unity will be learning pathways, technology integration, blueprints, and accessibility for all parents, teachers, and students. So in the design part, that's what I have these observations through my years of experience in teaching, and also before being a teacher, I used to work for a medical company as a sales manager. So I think it's important to involve careful planning throughout the consideration of pedagogical principles and the creation of engaging and effective learning materials. So that's what I tell the students. If you Google something, use Google Scholar, something that is reliable and trustworthy in the process. What should students be able to do or understand by the end of the learning process? That's one of my targets. And I also want to align the objective with the curriculum standards or educational outcomes. I want to also consider a variety of instructional strategies, including lectures, discussions, group work, simulations, and multimedia resources. I think that the design part, as I always emphasize that in my technology classes is the backbone. Without a solid structure in the process, it's like a card castle, no, like a paper castle or like a sand castle. It will just basically will be very weak and disappear. So in the case of the destiny, I have this divided also into 4 parts. I have a goal setting. That's as my one first step. The networking, the adaptability, and of course, the purpose. It might be that I could have changed the purpose to be in the upper layer, but there's a reason why I put it last. In the case of the goal setting, I want to define professional destiny. It said often brings with setting clear goals and aspirations. Teachers identify where they want to be in the future, such as achieving a leadership role. In my case, one of my targets is to be assistant principal. So I'm preparing to get the experience, and then of course with evidence of my performance, be able to have an opportunity to apply. Mastering a particular skill or making significant impact in their schools. Then in the case of networking, it's also important to build a strong professional network for teachers, and in this case, to be able to communicate with other experienced teachers about what we do. That's why I keep close contact with my college professors, and they have made a great impact in my teaching practices. Adaptability, I think that professionals must be adaptable and open to change as they work toward their career destiny. And this includes being willing to explore new roles, industries, or approaches when necessary. Then, of course, last is purpose and passion. I included the word passion also because finding professional destiny is also connected to the personal passion that we have and the sense of purpose. We want to achieve our career goals, and we want to be very passionate about the significance that we have in the student achievement. As I tell my students, there's no better gift than see a student be successful in their careers. Then, enjoyable moments. I think that I defined that also in 4. Professional growth, job satisfaction. We want to be also change factors and global citizen. I think that with all the things that we have lived from the pandemic, we want the students to be aware where they are and what they want to be. That's what I tell them. We need problem solvers. Bring a solution, not a problem. So innovation is important here. And as I said, in job satisfaction is making a positive impact, and change factors, we want to be a driving force that we can improve what we do in the educational system. The challenges, of course, here I define 6: resistant to change, limited resources, sustainability, time constraints, ineffective delivery, and assessment and evaluation. Most of the time, the problem with resistant to change is that we don't want to adopt any new teaching methodology because we have the mentality that if it works for me, why change it? Limited resources, it may happen even in the private schools because of other priorities. Sustainability, obviously, the problem is that the person who started the idea may leave the school and then the project stops. Assessment and evaluation, of course, has to deal with complexity in some cases, or the ineffective delivery that when there's a lecture style, it might not engage teachers effectively as if they do hands-on activities. And of course, the time constraint that sometimes, they cannot be done during regular school days. What's next? I think that there's 4 things that I want to envision for the future. One of them is the skill enhancement. That's one of the strengths that I foresee for my action plan. So I want to make sure that educators improve their teaching capabilities. The personal learning, I think that's a great opportunity because it will tailor what type of development we need to become better educators. One size fits all, that's a weakness because sometimes we mix with other divisions and perhaps what we are attending as a professional development is not what we actually need. And of course, the last one, which is the threats, is the overwhelming content that sometimes we get. Some schools, they want to implement an idea, a mission, and a vision in such a short time that we might not be able to accomplish that. So also, one other thing that I will like to tell is that in the process of strategic professional development, the important part is willingness and desire to be better educators. Thank you, Dr. March. Have a blessed afternoon.